Hey everybody, this is Timothy Gay here, back with another review, and today we are looking at the game Catalyst from designer Permar Rodasser. Hey Dash. And published by DV Gyochi. I picked this game up at Gen Con out of the blue. It was a recommendation from a friend of mine that knows I like combo-driven card drafting games. Which this is an awesome, quick 2 to 4 player card drafting combo building game. The best description I can give you is it feels kind of like Star Realms meets Seven Wonders, but it's all its own unique animal. So in Catalyst, we're going to try to get these Catalyst cards, which do different things, have different costs at the top there. And we buy them from the market here. This is our market board. And what we're going to do is buy these cards and get them in front of us and hopefully chain together some combinations of things in order to maximize our turns. So normally you can do one of 3 things on your turn. So the first thing you can do is to purchase a card. We all start with 5 of these big, nice, chunky coins. Got 5 there. Okay. So I could, for example, buy this blue card. He's a cost of 1, but at the start of the market, it adds +1, so he would actually cost 2. And as you go down the market, there's 0, so that would still be 5, 0. Now they get cheaper as they get farther off the board, because when you buy a card, the market all shifts down, okay? So the longer you wait for a card, the cheaper it's going to get, but, you know, people really want to get the good cards. Now the cost of the card is also its victory points at the end of the game. So this 1 cost card is worth 1 at the end of the game, where this 5 cost one is worth 5. So it costs you a lot more, but it's worth a lot more points because you win by getting the most points. We're not trying to attack each other here like Star Realms. We're trying to just gather the most points. So that's one thing. You can buy cards. The second type of action, you can only do one of these actions on your turn, is to collect money. And to collect money, you would say, I'm collecting money, and you would take money equal to the amount of the highest card out there. So since there's a 5 out here, I would get 5 coins. Now at the end of my turn, I can only keep up to 8 coins. So if I go over 8, you know, there's no point. So you want to kind of plan that to get up to your max and then have a lot of money for the next turn. So 5s are good for that. We have cards in 4 different colors, and like I said, these catalysts are going to go out in front of us as we buy them. Now there's things you can buy called buildings, which will enhance your catalyst, because when you buy a building, they actually go on top of your catalyst. And for the third action here is to actually trigger a catalyst in front of you. So if I didn't have that building, I would just trigger this and I would get 1 coin. That's what that symbol is. So triggering a catalyst, I tap it, and then at the end of my turn, that will go to my score pile. And I never get to see that card again. So you want to make it count and make it as the biggest impact to your points as possible, and that's where these buildings come in. So if I bought this building and I bought that catalyst, if I triggered this catalyst, it triggers with the building, and I would get to do the card first and then do the building's ability. And so let's just run down what each ability means. So this blue head, which is on these cards, it's on the catalysts and the buildings. So it's kind of like a bonus action if you had the buildings. So the blue head guy is to, if you activate it, you get to purchase an extra card on your turn. So like this turn, if I activated this, that would be my whole action, but this is granting me a free purchase. I would get to still pay the cost, but as you know, it's making it so I can still do more on my turn than that one measly little catalyst action. The other symbol is this. Looks like a building, and that's the way you buy buildings. So if I had this in front of me and I tapped it, I would then be able to spend money on these buildings here, and their cost is that they don't give you victory points quite like the catalyst, and we'll get into that. They give you in-game bonuses and allow you to stretch your turn a little more. they do get more expensive. This is set up for a 2-player game, so the first building only costs 1, but if somebody wants to buy the second building, it costs 3. And another thing with the buildings is for every building you have in front of you, it increases the cost of the building by 1. So if I had this building would actually cost me 5. So it kind of limits you on the buildings because the buildings are very powerful. But if you can build up enough money and get multiple buildings, each time you're triggering is even better. So we've got the coin symbol, which we already talked about. This would grant you 2 coins as a building on top of another catalyst. The other final symbol is where it gets really cool. And that is these green lanterns. So on my turn, if I were to activate this catalyst, I would get one of these tokens here. Okay? That gives me a lantern. These will go away at the end of your turn, so you want to spend them. Now, what do we use them for? We use them, let's say we had this, for example. I would tap this, get the green lantern. This allows me to activate another catalyst that's in front of me. And so the cool thing is you can have, multiple of these lantern cards in front of you. So I could use that one to activate this one, to activate this one, which gives me another, which I spent the lantern, get the lantern back, get a coin, then I can go over here and use this card. So you can really chain, and try to use as many cards in one turn. And that's the real strategy of this game. It kind of reminds me of Godfather, where you're trying to stretch your turns. You're limited to a single action normally, but if you did like in the Godfather, if you do a bunch of jobs, you could stretch out that round. This is stretching out a turn with these green things. So you want to kind of balance where you're getting things so that you can do the most in one turn. So the greens are very valuable, and there's actually a building that has it on it. And these go pretty quickly because they're super powerful. And of course, this one gives you money. Now, the final symbol is the claw. Think of this like whatever it's called in Seven Wonders, the war thing, where you're not going to be attacking each other though, but you're collecting these tokens that don't do anything yet. Maybe an expansion would be awesome if you could start attacking each other. But let's say I activated that, I would get a claw token. Now at the end of the game, every 2 claw tokens is worth a point, and the person with the most claw tokens gets 6 bonus points. The second most gets 3, and the third most gets 1. And you actually have to have at least a claw to be able to get into that, So the claws are a separate thing. Now the buildings. I mentioned something about scoring for buildings. They don't score what's on here. They score in setup. You're going to pick one of these bonus cards. There's 4 of them, and there's a 5th promo too. So let's say we randomly select one at the beginning of the game, so you get some variability each game. So this would go out, and everyone would see, you see there's those building symbols there that match these. Well, this is saying for if you build a blue building, you get a bonus point for every blue card that you've scored. So, when you activate a catalyst, it goes to your score pile. If I built this blue building and I had a bunch of these catalyst blue cards at the end of the game, this guy would actually be worth 4 points, right? Because he's 3 originally, and a bonus point if I built that blue building. Now, if I built 2 blue buildings, it would double. It stacks. So he would be worth 5 points. So you're always looking at the market, trying to figure out which angle do I want to go here for these bonus points, which will help me the most with what I've been scoring. In this example, the green building, for every green building, you're going to get 1 point for every card that has that lantern on there. That's really good. So that's some bonus points there. And just another example, for the yellow building, a point for every 3 cost card, which would be, like that one. So you get a point. One thing I should mention with the buildings. Oh, and let's just go to the last one. The red would be worth 4 points for every red building. Just straight 4 points, no matter what's in your score pile. So that's really cool too. Now with the buildings, it doesn't matter if the color matches. If you have an open building, you buy a catalyst, it's going to go in that building. You can only ever have 1 catalyst per building. So when you tap it, it stays in there till the end of your turn and then goes to your score pile. So you can't stack a whole ton and get a whole bunch of cards. But the cool thing is, as you buy, if I use this at the end of my turn, if I had another card, it would shift over into the building. So your buildings are almost always going to be occupied as long as you have catalyst cards to put in them. But the end of the game is when you play through all the cards. All the cards get played through. You run out, and then you take this separated stack of 10 cards, and you play one final round. and then the game ends. It plays extremely quick. I think it takes about a half hour. That's what our games have been taking once you know the game. The variability is awesome with these bonuses, and these little simple bonuses really, really, really shift the way you strategize, because they're going to strategize with change what you purchase, because you're going to want to get these bonuses. If you don't get any bonuses, it's going to be tough. Now, I have seen people ignore the bonuses completely and just go heavy cards and chain their cards in front of them, because they're not spending money on buildings. They can focus on money on cards. So you can completely abandon that part of the game if you really wanted to, which is also cool. I think this game is a steal. I bought it for $20 at Gen Con. I think it's going to retail for $25. It's a tiny little portable box about the size of King Domino. The quality of the cards is very nice. The art's super cool. I don't know what the heck the theme's supposed to be, but it looks cool. Look at this scuba diving seahorse guy. That's freaking cool, right? But it comes with this cool little handy dandy score pad, which I'll eventually have to laminate because I'm going to play the snot out of this game. So I'll need one to keep that I can do a dry erase on, because I will be running out very quickly. But that is the gist of the game. Like I said, the artwork, super cool. Here's just some examples. I love this card. Look at that. Reindeer. It's kind of like a robotic, steampunky, end of the world kind of look. These leprechaun looking guys. Anyway, 2 to 4 players, about half an hour. Super, super good. Definitely worth checking out. This was my surprise hit of Gen Con for me and my group. I didn't know what to expect at all. Just grabbed it because it looked neat, and I love the simplicity. There's no words on these cards, but the symbols all make sense. Duh, that's a coin. Duh, you get that. Duh, you can buy a building. Easy to teach to anybody. I love the way this market goes. If you push your luck and wait for the cards, you might be able to get it for cheap. I love the way you can get income based on the cards that are out there. If you get it from the highest card, that's super cool. So a lot of times these building cards are in very high demand because people want those, so they get snatched up really quickly. So there's a cool back and forth. The interaction is very minimal, but it feels, the drafting is heavy. Like once you get good at this game, you can know what people are going for based on their buildings and things, and just hate draft, things like that. And I typically like my games to have a little more, attack each other and mess with each other. Take that and high interaction. But this one somehow pulls it off where, I don't need that, which is odd for me to say, but it still flows so well. Definitely check this one out. It's coming out soon. Worth your time and money. All right, thanks.